We're going to look quickly at obesity because we're the #1 obese nation in the world. Why are we the #1 obese nation in the world? Because doctors and the government has no idea what causes it. And I'm here to tell you, I actually have a book out there called Hell's Kitchen. The subtitle is The Cause, Prevention, and Cure of Obesity. Nobody else can claim that they know that. Because if they did, we would be the #1 obese nation in the world. Okay? So, it's not a disease of excess. The reason why we're in such trouble with obesity is it's not a disease of excess, and that's how the government and the doctors treat it. It's a disease of excess. You need more exercise. You need less. But that's not what the problem is. It's a nutritional deficiency disease. Not a calorie deficiency, but a nutrition deficiency. I'll show you that. I'll prove that to you in a second. Just show you that for remembrance, right? Remember that one. Now, according to experts, 70% of our kids under the age of 12 are overweight, and 40% of our kids under the age of 12 are obese, which is 30 pounds over their ideal weight for their height. And it has nothing to do with too much screen time, lack of exercise, or eating too much. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's a simple nutritional deficiency. But you see, doctors would rather give you a bone marrow transplant when you have iron deficiency anemia than iron. Do you understand? Well, we've got the technology. We've got to use the technology. Let's do lap banding. That'll fix it. Now, this is one of my favorite obesity slides. This looks at obesity in adults. In 1980, we only had 15% Americans obese. Between 1900 and 1980, it was like 12%, 15%, 12%, 15%. It never really rose above 15% for 80 years. Boy, in here it just started going up like crazy. By 2000, 20 years later, it doubled, more than doubled. What happened? Well, right here, they took all the fat out of our diet. It's hard to find fat. I mean, everything is no fat, low fat, or fat-free. And we're getting fat. Then, anybody here ever raise livestock? Anybody fatten cattle or sheep or pigs? Now, do you feed them ice cream and lard and eggs to fatten them up? Do you feed them whole grains to fatten them up, classically? And the answer is yes. You feed them whole grains. 99% of farmers feed their cattle and pigs and sheep and chickens whole grains to fatten them up. Now, wait a minute, didn't they tell you to eat whole grains? Huh. Let's have a look at that. Now, you see, this is what you're getting following the doctor's instructions: no fat and eating whole grains, exercising. Now, if the doctors were correct, the chart should look like that. If the government was correct, the chart should look like that. But following their directions for 20 plus 12 years is 32 years. Houston, we have a problem here. Now, one of my favorite obesity slides is that of Rosalie Bradford. She had 2 Guinness World Book of Records for obesity. Number 1, she's the heaviest woman ever officially weighed by the Guinness World Book of Records. She weighed 1,242 pounds, 1,242 pounds. You went on 2 dates with Rosalie, you had a ton of fun. Do the math. Now, she also had her second Guinness World Book of Records. She lost the most weight, 736 pounds, between 1987 and 1994. This is not lose 10, gain 5, lose 10, gain 5 or kind of thing. This is lose, 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 because they did a lap banding on her and they put her on a 500-calorie diet, and she, over those years, she lost 736 pounds. That's like 3 people. Okay? And then she died, because fat is not the problem. Fat is just a symptom, just like cholesterol is not the problem. Now, what does it tell you? In 1980, it was 15%. It's almost gone up 300%. So what's the problem here? That's because they've told you to get fat. Eat whole grains, exercise, don't take vitamins and minerals. Avoid fat, and you get fat. I mean, if you're not careful, you could wind up in Ruth's Chris Steakhouse as the meal instead of the eater. No end in sight for the obesity epidemic. Why is that? Because there's 80 million baby boomers come along who eat whole grains, exercise, and don't take vitamins and minerals. I'm going to give you 3 clues, and then I'm going to give you the answer. Don't forget the book, Hell's Kitchen. This gal here, Natalie Hayhurst from Terre Haute, Indiana, was driven to eat light bulbs. Now, they say it's a rare condition, but it's not a rare condition. This happens several million times a day in America. She prefers wood, paper products, cardboard, sticks. She likes rocks, dirt. She eats Diet Coke cans. She won't eat classic Coke cans, only Diet Coke cans. She's eaten little magnets out of shower curtains. She loves plastic bottles and toys. I think that's why McDonald's took the toy out of the Happy Meal. So what is this condition? Well, you can call it pica, the munchies, you can call it, you know, that kind of stuff. But she has that condition because she's minerally deficient. Pregnant women get the same thing. They eat weird stuff. I mean, pregnant women are classic for eating weird stuff. You know, back when your grandmother was out living out in the rural areas, she had pregnancy, she'd go out and eat dirt. Fortunately, there was no calories in dirt, right? How many ladies heard your grandma used to eat dirt when she was pregnant? Yeah, I mean, grandmas used to do that. We live in the 17th floor of an apartment building now in the inner city where there's no trees even. You start eating the Tootsie Rolls out of the kitty litter box because you're hungry for weird stuff when you're minerally deficient. If you own a cat with a kitty litter box, you know what I'm talking about. So I want you to get the book, Hell's Kitchen, because that's going to give you the details of when and how, and gives you the whole story of the electricity and how it made us fat. Loyola School of Medicine, Chicago. Oh, that's the Russian version again. Exercise won't cure obesity, because when you're exercising, you're sweating, you're replacing your sweat with water, you're sweating out of your minerals, and guess what? You get hungrier. If you're skinny, you stay skinny. If you're fat, you get fatter when you exercise. As a result, when they looked at that data, everybody agreed that they were correct. So it was a cover article in August of 2009, 8 months later, the myth about exercise, it won't make you lose weight. Anybody here ever raise horses or work with horses? Raise your hand. Okay, what do you call when a horse chews on the fence? Cribbing, very good. And how do you get rid of cribbing in a horse? You can shoot him in the head, that'll stop it, but I mean, what else can you do to get a horse to stop cribbing?
Salt.
What?
Salt.
Yeah, you give them a trace mineral salt block, or you give them bone meal or some minerals, and they'll stop within 3 to 5 days, they'll stop chewing on the fence. Well, those of you who've never seen cribbing, this is a stall in a barn in a horse and buggy Amish farm in Switzerland County, Indiana, in the southeastern corner of Indiana. Now, I don't even need to look at the horse or do tests on them. I just look at the rails in that stall in the barn. I can see that that horse is minerally deficient. Now, it's called cribbing in animals. It's called the munchies in humans. Now, it's socially unacceptable. It's socially unacceptable for your little kids to eat the neighbor's furniture when you visit. And that's where we developed the custom. That's where we developed the custom of taking and giving them cookies and drinks. They all have calories in it, so so we came up with a program that works every time. Obviously, you have to take the 90 essential nutrients per body weight, 1 healthy start pack for 100 pounds of body weight per month. And then if you're a diabetic, we like you to throw in, and you don't have to be a diabetic, but certainly a diabetic. You could also throw this in if you're not a diabetic. The Slender FX weight management system. It has some gluten-free, water-soluble fibers, so you feel satiated. It's got a meal replacer. You can either make it into a cold shake or an ice cream. You make it with water, and it has 80 calories and no sugar in it. Great for diabetics. Also has some accelerators here to speed up the weight loss. But the real secret sauce for weight loss is this one. ASAP, put a dropper full of this under your tongue 30 minutes before each meal. And this replaces the HCG diet. How many of you heard of the HCG diet? Okay. That requires injections. You got to do this whole thing with the doctor, right? Prescription stuff. Well, this is the raw material for your body to make your own HCG. You put this under your tongue 30 minutes before each meal, and you will lose weight and keep it off. ASAP, ASAP, as slim as possible, as soon as possible. I'll show you 2 examples, one boy, one girl. This is Jerry from Salt Lake City. He'd been with us for 12 years at this point, and he had a bread belly. Now, he'd been taking the 90 essential nutrients, didn't have any health problems, but he had a bread belly. How many of you heard of a beer belly? Raise your hand. Okay, sure. Well, a good German knows that beer is liquid bread. Every German knows that beer is liquid bread. Why? Because the ingredients in beer and the ingredients in bread are exactly the same. The only difference between bread and beer is one is fermented and the other one is baked. The same ingredients. Same ingredients, only bakers and fermentation is just difference in preparation. It's the same stuff. So it shouldn't be too hard for you to understand how somebody who eats bread can get a bread belly, just like people who drink beer get a beer belly. All right? So all we added to his program, he took 2 healthy start packs. He drank to the rebound because he's a little bit of a farmer. His wife Judy loved to make bread. He had bread for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and bedtime snack. Make his wife happy. Support his wife's hobby of making bread, organically grown, multigrain, you know the drill. So we added the ASAP. 45 days he loses 50 pounds, primarily from his belly, okay? Because this product will preferentially move your metabolism to preferentially burn belly fat. And you can do crunches, you can do all that kind of stuff. You can lose 50 pounds, you'll lose muscle before you lose belly fat. I see a lot of people shaking their heads, yes, right? If you've ever tried to lose belly fat, it's very difficult. But this stuff will do it. Now I'll show you another one here. You already know this person, the little red-headed gal, Brandy, who introduced me. She's 5'2", and in this picture, she weighed 158 pounds. 1/3 of her body weight was fat. Okay, I apologize for this being out of focus, but this came off of her driver's license with a phone camera. But at any rate, so she's been with us for about 8 years at this point. And she's been using our products. So her husband is a heavy equipment driver, and he liked bread, so she made bread for him, and what was ever left over, she'd eat it, right? Rather than let it go away, she ate it. And so we put her on the rebound, because she was drinking 2 liters of Pepsi a day, only 5'2", 2 liters of Pepsi a day. And so we put her on rebound instead of the Pepsi, and then she lost, I don't know, 20-something pounds, and she still needed to lose another 30, so she got on the ASAP, and in a month's time, she got down to 106 pounds, 158 to 106. Healthy Start Pack, Rebound, and ASAP. Now, that was, I think she got down to this 106 pounds in January of this year. She's still 106 pounds. You'll keep your weight off as long as you're taking in the minerals appropriate for your body weight, because you don't have the munchies anymore. Everybody else, you can lose weight. There's a million different ways to lose weight, but you always gain it back because you haven't solved the problem of mineral deficiency. You get the picture? Okay, now I can move on here. Oh, also I should do this one here. I forgot. Tim's here. One of the guys who helped register tonight, Tim, he lost 44.5 pounds and 8 inches in waist in just 60 days on the program. He's been with us for a while, but the ASAP, and he's been able to keep it off. And he was telling me he was hiking up in the mountains, and because he lost that 45 pounds, he did pretty good.